Hello, welcome back to Nostalgia Drive. So this is episode 4 of my Saya no Uta playthrough. A medical student relates his shocking experiences, will you believe him or not. Strange things started happening at the hospital around the end of last spring. It began with patients waking up in the middle of the night screaming. They all spoke of terrifying nightmares and many of them had to be sedated. Alright. Some patients even transferred to other hospitals because of it. The weird thing was that they'd all have exactly the same dream. A dream about some horribly disgusting monster staring down at them from their bedside. So I'm like really convinced Saya is definitely like a monster. But I think Fuminori like views her as like this girl, I think. But the really strange stuff started happening after that. There used to be a lot of stray cats around campus, looking for scraps from students. One day the cats suddenly disappeared, and it wasn't that they'd stopped coming, it was more like they'd vanished from the area entirely. And then people stopped walking their dogs around. According to the rumours, the dogs were refusing to go anywhere near the school. Oh wait, so is it the college maybe? I thought it was a hospital. Oh no, so it happens even in the school and the college and the hospital. Alright. Eventually things started going missing in the hospital. Organs to be precise. Transplant organs keep disappearing from the storage. People came close to losing their jobs over it, and it wasn't just 2 or 3 times that it happened. They tried to keep it from the students, but we heard it was a lot worse than that. People started saying there was something living in the hospital. The janitors would find strange messes that could only have been made in the middle of the night. Traces of something that had crawled down the hallway, or weird stains caused by something dripping through the ceiling. The late shift nurses talked about hearing strange noises on the same nights that patients woke screaming. There's one last story, one you can never mention inside the hospital. One day the obstetrics department went crazy. They said that a newborn has disappeared in the night. I don't know if this is all Saya that's done this, but please don't say Saya's ate like a baby. That sounds horrible. If that were true, the police would have come and it would have been all over the news. But they say the big shots managed to make it go away. It's just a rumour. That's horrible. Of course. These strange incidents suddenly stopped towards the end of summer. Now there are almost no patients complaining of nightmares, and the cats have started coming back to campus. There's no way Saya's not behind all of this then. I wonder what Saya's capable of then. This is horrible. But still, what happened in the hospital that summer, even now, just thinking about it gives me the creeps. Yes, so they must be trying to contact Omi, which is clearly dead now. It's just in the worst possible way. This is the 3rd day in a row that they haven't been able to get in touch with Omi. There's no sign that she's returned to her apartment, and even her family doesn't know anything. Her parents have already filled a missing persons report. Yeah, you would think that, but she's not anytime soon. Yo replies with a gloomy expression. She's worried about Omi, of course, but the incident with Fuminori 3 days ago must still be weighing on her as well. Yo hasn't seen Fuminori since then, and Fuminori hasn't made any effort to approach her or Koji. 4 people used to meet in the cafeteria between classes, but now there's only 2. It's a lie, of course. Koji knows where Omi planned to go that evening, but he doesn't want to bring Fuminori up in front of Yo. Their awkward silence is mercifully broken by the bell signalling the start of the next period. Unless Koji's mistaken, Yo is supposed to have class next period too, but she just sits there staring off into space. Unable to come up with anything to say, he leaves the cafeteria reluctantly. Both Omi's disappearance and Yo's depression worry Koji, and both problems lead back to the exact same place. When Omi went missing, the first thing he did was question Fuminori after all. The last time he'd seen her was just before she stormed off to give Fuminori a piece of her mind. Fuminori responded with an unequivocal denial and acted like he hadn't the slightest idea why Omi would have gone to see him. Perhaps that was only natural, as he was unaware that Omi and Koji had witnessed him reduce Yo to tears. Did Omi even make it to Fuminori's house? She had been riding a wave of emotion when she'd left, and might have calmed down and changed her mind halfway there. Or perhaps she ran into trouble on the way. Koji concluded, or more accurately convinced himself, that one of these possibilities was the truth, subconsciously denying the one remaining possibility, that Fuminori was lying, that he had met Omi and was involved with her disappearance. When questioned by the police, Koji told the truth about Omi's destination only up to the train station, maintaining that he had no idea where she planned to go after that. He wanted to cooperate with the search, of course, but Omi couldn't have made it to Fuminori's house. Fuminori said so himself, didn't he? In that case, he told the police everything they need to know. Not wanting to get the still fragile Fuminori involved, he forced himself to accept this flimsy logic. But the conflict has built up inside of him without his notice, leaving unanswered suspicion to fester in his mind. Koji is deep in thought, paying no attention to his surroundings, but perhaps this is what allows him to catch sight of his friend's back through the crowd of milling students.
Fuminori?
At first, Koji assumes that he's headed to the lecture hall, but it soon appears that he is instead going home. Please say Koji's not going to end up getting killed as well, like, please no. Strange, medical students have required courses in the afternoon. Though he's initially surprised, Koji's hesitation lasts for only a second. He follows his friend, taking care to stay far enough behind that he won't be noticed. This is actually like stalking out Fuminori now. Fuminori wasn't going home, as became obvious when he boarded a train heading in the opposite direction. Koji's next guess was that he was going to see the doctor at the University Hospital, but Fuminori rode straight through the closest station. At first, Koji felt ashamed for telling his friend like this, but his conscience fell silent as Fuminori's actions grew more mysterious. The stranger it gets, the closer Koji feels to discovering the truth behind Fuminori's sudden transformation. Any knowledge would be welcome, no matter how slight. Even Koji's beginning to think there must be more behind Fuminori's change than the accident alone. He wants a more satisfying answer, one that will help him decide whenever Fuminori can be trusted. Fuminori gets off a small station in a non-ripped suburb of Tokyo. Koji follows, trying not to lose sight of him amid the other disembarking passengers. The area is quite desolate, with only a small bookstore and convenience store, and a market in front of the train station. It's easy for Koji to keep Fuminori in view. The neighbourhood was carved out of Fuji foothills, and here and there remain steep inclines and wooded areas that escaped assimilation. Koji is amazed that such a quiet place exists less than an hour out of central Tokyo. Fuminori seems to know these streets. He moves quickly and purposely through the suburban community, his eyes fixed straight ahead. Before long, Fuminori reaches a house. Without ringing the bell or even knocking, he opens the door and vanishes inside, leaving Koji to wonder how Fuminori can treat the house as his own. After waiting to see if Fuminori comes back out, Koji approaches the gate and checks the nameplate. Oh right, so he's going to Old Guy's address. Koji's never heard of anyone by the name among Fuminori's acquaintances. Next, his attention is drawn to the thick wad of leaflets sticking out of the mail slot. This, coupled with the general dilapidated feel of the place, suggests it has been abandoned for some time. A small playground about 2 blocks away provides an adequate vantage point from which to watch the front of Old Guy's house. Fortunately, it does not appear to be some sort of house that has a rear exit. Koji settles down on a bench to begin his stakeout. I should have brought more smokes. feel like Koji's been like a detective here. 1 hour passes and then another, but there remains no sign of movement around the Ogai residence. Soon twilight settles upon the neighbourhood. After Koji's 1 pack of cigarettes runs out, the stakeout becomes a battle against mountain impatience. He kills time by redialing Omi on his cell and sending her short text messages, but his efforts are futile, as he knew they would be. When the sky begins to turn deep blue and the streetlights come on, Fuminori finally emerges from the house and heads back towards the station with the same hurried stride. After some brief consideration, Koji decides that right now investigating the house is more important than tailing Fuminori. He rings the doorbell just to make sure. After receiving the expected silence in response, he checks to make sure no one is watching and turns the doorknob. The door is not locked. Oh, what the hell is this? This is horrible. This is just as bad looking as Fuminori's looking house. It's all dull. The moment he enters the house, stale air thick with mould and dust fills Koji's nostrils. It is the unmistakable smell of a house that has long lain untouched. There's also a faint hint of something else in the air, something resonant of damp sewers. It's so horrible. Flipping the light switch does nothing, the power must be cut off. Koji uses his cigarette lighter to illuminate the immediate area. In the thick dust covering the floor, he sees several brand new trails of footprints that could only have been made by shoes, Fuminori's. Koji decides to follow suit and dispense with courtesy. He enters with his shoes on. This is so creepy, man, I swear. No, why is another one I'm going this really creepy house? I swear to God. The lighter's flickering flame pushes back the deadly silence and gloom of the house. Koji is surprised to see evidence of life remaining. Everything from the furniture to tableware and appliances, nothing seems to be missing. The thickness of the dust suggests that the house has been empty for several months, which means the owner must have left with little more than the clothes on his back. Could he have gone on a long vacation? The calendar in the den is still turned to April, empty and silent, yet still exhibiting signs of life that was once lived there. The house reminds Koji of a passenger ship entombed at the bottom of the sea in a graveyard-like quiet. A sinister thought suddenly enters his mind. No one's living here, but does that not have to mean that the owner's left? Maybe he was murdered and his rotten corpse is right under Koji's feet. He finds himself wanting a stronger light. A flashlight in his hand would make him feel much better. Koji follows Fuminori's footsteps to the second floor, where he begins to catch the scent of paper and the stale air. It is the smell of old books, instantly recognisable to anyone who's worked in an antique bookstore or library. The first room on the second floor turns out to be a study. Its towering shelves packed with such a vast number of books that Koji fears for the stability of the floor. As a medical student himself, he's able to discern at a glance that this study belongs to a medical professional, and a high level one at that. Judging by the content of the books, a smorgasbord of technical volumes far beyond a simple student's understanding. The owner's interests lie more with medical research than with clinical practice. Fuminori must have spent most of his time here. The scattered dust suggests that he was searching for something, and the contents of the desk drawers are in obvious disarray. A small pile of books stacked on the side table catches his eye. Being next to the desk, they must have been the most frequently read. Their nature could shed some light on the character of the person who worked here. Koji frowns as he examines the 3 books. These aren't scientific texts like the rest, but old leather-bounded Western tomes, like the sort you would find in a rare bookstore. The titles are meaningless to him, appears to concern semitomics. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce this. Like, is it Ars Magna et Ultima? I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. It's some kind of treatise on divination. This is really strange, these like books and everything, isn't it? Which looks like some sort of picture book when he pages through it. He finds the text utterly incomprehensible. Maybe it's some kind of cipher. Whatever they are, they clearly have nothing to do with medicine, rebuting Koji's earlier guess that this old guy was a doctor. Looking down, Koji suddenly notices the glint of something black and metallic underneath the chair. A pocket-sized flashlight, quite out of place among all of these dusty books. Fuminori must have brought it in here. With relief, Koji exchanges his lighter for the flashlight. Its tiny body emits a powerful white beam that casts away the darkness. His courage restored, he decides to explore the rest of the house. Koji notices something strange, something that was not visible in the lighter's weak flame. No, it's not slime again, is it? No, see if Koji ends up dying as well, like, man. Dark, oily stains are everywhere. The stains are especially thick around the doorknobs and stair banisters, like someone grasped them with hands wrapped in greasy cloth. Looking closer, he sees places where slimes were splashed low on the walls, almost as if a wet mop was run violently across the floor. Could Ogai have made these marks? If so, how? Koji begins to feel sick as he imagines a man shambling through the house with slime dripping from his body. Finding the bedroom next to the study, Koji checks the closet and, on a hunch, he discovers 2 empty suitcases. Not what one would leave behind when going on a long vacation. Maybe Ogai's dead then. I feel like he is. A sudden chill runs through him. Whoever was living here is still somewhere inside the house. It's not Saya, is it? Well, Saya did say that she was left in the house, but I don't know why Saya would kill, like, Ogai though, if it's her father. I'm not sure. It doesn't make any sense. So, suppressing the urge to flee, Koji goes back downstairs to check the first floor. Why? Oh my god, man. You're making a mistake. If he finds a corpse, he'll have to call the police right away. He might get away with trespassing if he reports it first, but if they find the body later, it'll be awfully hard to explain his fingerprints all over the house. No, this looks so ominous looking already. The flashlight reveals the den to be covered in even more slime than the rest of the house. The sofa looks as though it was drenched from the bottom of a swamp. In the kitchen, Koji takes one look at the sink and decides to not get any closer. He didn't want to add any more fuel for his imagination. He reaches the door to the bathroom. Common theme from TV dramas flashes through his head, a body with slit wrists floating in the bathroom. Bathtub full of water. And wasn't there a movie where a hitman disposes of his victim in a bathtub? That's kind of like some amount of imagination to him though. Koji braces himself for the worst and opens the door suddenly, then shines his light into the chromatic bathtub and it appears from the darkness like a white ghost. It's just slime. Bones. Oh no. Bones and mountain of bones, black with dry flesh and blood. Koji puts one hand against the wall to steady himself as his legs threaten to buckle. Something is wrong. He realises he tries desperately to get his thoughts in order. The only thing I can think of from my theory is Saya, when she was living at this house, she must have been eating other humans. So this is probably like the remains. That's the only thing I can think of. The bones are too small and there's too many of them, but they aren't human. Was it maybe the cats? Was it cats and dogs maybe? After taking several deep breaths to calm himself, Koji enters the bathroom and examines the tub. The bones are piled atop each other like fallen leaves, appear to be from small animals. Yes, I was right then. Perhaps cats or dogs. Even so, the quantity is mind-boggling. How many bodies would it take to produce this many bones? Bones have all been separated one from another, so it doesn't look like bodies were just thrown into the tub and left to rot. Each bone is covered with deep grooves, marks left with teeth biting through the flesh. Koji's sanity won't let him consider the possibility that a human could have done this. The owner of this house must have kept some sort of carnivorous animal as a pet, giving it the bones of small animals to eat and disposing of the remains in the bathtub. But why not dispose of the leftovers properly? They could have just thrown it out in the garbage, or was there something keeping him from leaving the house? The relief Koji felt when he realised the bones weren't human is once again under attack. In the first place, what the hell was Fuminori doing here?
どうした、Koji?
Oh my god, man! I can't believe how, like, ominous, like, Fuminori looks so. Koji whirls around, his light revealing Fuminori's expressionless face.
お前だって同じだろうが。
Fuminori pushes past Koji and looks into the bathtub. He doesn't even flinch at the sight of the
僕は
bones.
この家の人と知り合いなんだ。頼まれて探し物をしに来ただけさ。
知り合いって、いつから？一体何者なんだ？
Koji doesn't want to believe that the old friendly Fuminori could have had contact with the denizens of this
いずれ
house.
お前にも紹介するよ。僕の恩人とも言える人だから。
おい、文則！
Fuminori's still not going to say a single thing, I swear. But I guess that he does see them as monsters, so it kind of makes sense. Koji runs after Fuminori. His heart is finally beating
お
normal
前まさ
again.
か、近頃様子がおかしいのは、その知り合いっていうやつのせいなんじゃ。
Standing in the entrance, Fuminori glazed coldly at Koji over his shoulder. The utter lack of emotion in his eyes gives Koji
僕の後を
pause.
つけてきたんだね。そういうのは迷惑だ。二度とやらないでもらいたい。
ああ。
Fuminori walks away without another word, leaving Koji alone in the entrance. Up until this very moment, concern for his friend was still at the forefront of his mind. Now, however, the concern is swiftly giving away to the growing sense of dread. Does the Fuminori he knew no longer exist? Was the person he just stared Koji down an imposter wearing Fuminori's skin? Koji has begun to believe that this might be so. Right, so I think this is probably a good point to end the episode. So I don't know what will happen next, if Koji will maybe like go explore even more of what Fuminori's up to. But I'm just wondering when this reveal's going to happen, that Saya is like eating humans and Fuminori actually is eating a human as well. But I wonder what this twist is actually going to be like. So I'll see you in the next episode of Saya no Uta. Bye!